Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the A&B podcast, where two regular dudes discuss the various topics in entertainment from movies, gaming, and television. I'm your host, Birkin, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Oggy.
Hello.
Hello there, Oggy. How have you been?
Pretty good, thanks you.
I'm all right. Thank you very much. Obviously, it's been a while since we have recorded, but some stuff has been going on behind the scenes, which we'll update you about when the time is right, of course. But we're back for now, and we're very excited to get into it, right?
Absolutely.
Now we've got a slightly different sort of structure this time round. We're mainly going to be focusing on gaming stuff this time, but there'll be a few more episodes coming out a bit later on, individually on various topics such as DCEU and whatnot. But keep your eyes peeled for that. Otherwise, the first bit of news we want to discuss is, of course, the most recent one, which is that Microsoft has recently purchased ZeniMax, the conglomerate who owns Bethesda games and various other games within that. And they have paid $7.5 billion, that's right, billion, to buy all the studios within ZeniMax. And how do you feel about this, Hoggy? Are you excited to see Microsoft making some big moves?
Well, I didn't expect to see this at all. So when I saw it on my Reddit feed, I was like, "Excuse me, is this a new meme that's just reached my phone for the first time?" No, this is legit. They have bought this company for $7.5 billion. That is a ridiculous amount of money.
It is completely insane, and like it's going to be really interesting to see if like Elder Scrolls Fallout and Doom and everything are going to be exclusive, because you'd think that having spent that much money that they're not going to be coming to PlayStation.
Could you imagine if they still came to PlayStation?
I mean, I could understand it if it was in the sense that they wanted to do time exclusives and bring everything to Xbox first, and then eventually, in order to gain their money back, bring them to PlayStation. Because I remember Microsoft did say that it would be a case by case basis.
Yeah, but 7.5 billion.
Yeah, I know.
That's absurd. Only for them to if they better make it a exclusive. And I prefer PlayStation, but if Xbox don't make an exclusive, they're just dumb as shit.
That's true as well, in the sense that, like, I understand it if they're not exclusive, but personally, I think what will happen is that by case basis, I believe they mean Nintendo.
Hmm.
That's just the sort of vibe I'm getting, is that because I know Microsoft have got a pretty close relationship to Nintendo as of recent.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I could also see that obviously Microsoft is moving towards Game Pass and everything with the whole, Netflix streaming sort of idea. I could see the long term plan being potentially to try and get Game Pass on PlayStation.
Well, we had this conversation before. I think it was yesterday when we were watching that amazing documentary, wasn't it, Bucket?
Yes.
But when we were talking about this last time, I mentioned that I honestly think Microsoft is playing the really long game. PlayStation obviously had been hyping up PlayStation 5 with very cryptic tweets, very cryptic reveals, not revealing a lot deliberately. But Xbox have been revealing everything that needs to be revealed for their fans. And now, what was the news that you just gave me about the pre-orders? That they're all sold out, aren't they?
Yeah, they've all sold out. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. They've been playing very, very strategically, and it worked. So, like the reveal of the price, and obviously comparatively, which we'll talk about later on with the PS5, is obviously better. And
Yeah.
so obviously fans are amazed by that. And now with the recent news, oh, not only is the console cheaper, but also we have recently acquired a massive asset with amazing IPs, which means you'll have possibly this to be exclusive, or at the very least exclusive for a timed event, which means they're going to have a massive slew of fans. And I think, yeah, Microsoft is very clever with this. They're doing this with obviously their streaming services. They're trying to make sure that they cover as many platforms as possible, and they know the game. They did it with obviously all their other services, so they're doing it now with the gaming industry with their own console. And I reckon we're going to be seeing a lot more of this sort of behavior from Microsoft, where they make an announcement that just changes the game. Because you and I both said, well, what's PlayStation going to do now? What is Sony going to do now? How do they respond to this?
That's the thing as well. Like, Microsoft is, $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Compared to Sony, they have cash reserves.
Oh,
Sony isn't Like, I mean, Sony's $1 million company, but compared to Microsoft, it's another Apple. Like,
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, Microsoft made their money not through gaming to begin with. It was not even through entertainment. It was just through their computers, through their software, through their products before they even joined the gaming industry. So they have a massive reserve, honestly.
yeah, yeah, you're spot on, and that's the thing. It's going to be really interesting to see that if these, like, the Bethesda games and everything all seriously do become exclusives, because if they do, and even if they don't, well, it was actually, to be fair, let's just say if they did, and
Yeah.
obviously Microsoft have bought Obsidian, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And they're the guys who made Fallout New Vegas.
Mm.
Are we getting a Fallout New Vegas 2?
Well, that's the question. I saw it on my Reddit as well that apparently a bunch of tweets very cryptically have been suggesting that a new title's coming out and possibly a sequel to Fallout New Vegas.
Exactly, and I know that's going to excite a lot of people because wasn't that like the best Fallout since Fallout 3?
I think it's definitely up there. I prefer Fallout 4, but mainly because um, that was my first experience with Fallout. But obviously, that's just my personal preference. Fallout New Vegas sounds incredible, and Fallout New Vegas 2 obviously will definitely live up to hype,
Yeah.
unless they take obviously the Naughty Dog route. But I'm not going to go into that.
Anyway, we've got different views on that one.
Of course, yeah.
Anywho, that being said, though, like the thing I'm really excited about is the fact that obviously they've got Obsidian who are working on RPGs. They bought Bethesda who you know are known for their RPGs. It's almost like Microsoft is becoming a hub for RPG gaming.
Absolutely, and there's definitely a niche out there. So a lot of fans who already are on Xbox and fans of RPGs are just going to experience a massive flow of ecstasy and maybe think of it like as an extended Christmas. Oh, look, I'm getting everything I want all at once. It's all coming together. It just all works.
I remember that was a meme somebody posted about Microsoft as well.
Mm. Oh,
But
I've got
uh,
actually a question for you, Birkin.
right.
So with now them acquiring these companies, what sort of role do you think is Microsoft are going to play in the creative processing of these games? Do you think they're
I
just
was actually just about to get to that. To be fair, obviously, like for me personally, I don't really like Bethesda's games. They're not for me, but I know that they are big and people really love them.
Mm,
And that's the thing. Recently, obviously, Bethesda's not been great. Like Fallout 4, people have a love hate relationship with that.
yeah.
And then you have Fallout 76, which has its
Yikes.
own controversies. Yeah, yikes. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Microsoft can put things right.
Oh,
And
don't forget
obviously,
Fallout Miami coming soon as well.
yes, of course. And like that being said, like with 76's controversy and everything like that, it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft writes the ship
I
and if
mean,
they're willing to give them that creative freedom to go do what they want.
there are a few options they have. They could take the full like totalitarian approach, where they say, "Okay, we now own you. You're going to only follow our guidelines." And not even guidelines. It's going to be a case of, "Okay, what's your idea? No, do this instead," and they have to, obviously. Or
Hmm.
they could do the whole autonomous thing, where they say, "Okay, we now own you. We fund your projects, but you have to approve them first, and then as a result of them being made, they'll then publish them via obviously Xbox." There's a bunch of different ways they can go about it. I'm hoping that they at least uh, take a cue from the fans, because obviously they've now got a massive support of the fans. They've got incredible support from the global community, and I think it would be a really stupid move from Xbox to just waste this idea by saying, "Okay, we're now going to let them do whatever the hell they want, and just with a higher budget." I think if they're going to be smart about it, they're going to acquire them as they have, and then at least enforce new rules. So, for example, Bethesda, you can't make a loot box cash cow 76
Yeah, yeah, no.
or stuff like that. That you can't keep doing this. You got to do stuff that is innovative, that brings people to the platforms, and more importantly, brings them to your games. Otherwise, you're going to lose more and more fans, and it's just going to be pointless.
No, I mean you're definitely right. And obviously, you've also got Starfield coming out, which is a Bethesda's new sci-fi RPG that they're going to be making.
Yeah.
And on top of that as well, within that they've bought ID Studios, I think it is, or ID Software,
But
who
no.
make Doom.
Yeah. Oh, Oh, the amount of memes coming out of that, like everyone is begging for Microsoft to make a Doom Halo crossover.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. Do you reckon that's going to happen?
I think they'll probably play it safe and not let it happen for a while, and maybe they could do something like what Capcom did with Nintendo. Was it Capcom? No, Capcom and Marvel, where they have crossover events like that sort of thing. If they're smart about it, they can have like a franchise of those IPs where they have that sort of battle royale thing. That could work really well in their favor if they're smart about it. But in terms of an actual campaign, that's a risky. That's a oof.
I get you. But no, you do know about the whole Deathloop thing, and I think it's Ghostwire, which had agreements with Bethesda previously with Sony,
Yeah, yeah,
that they were going to be coming timed exclusive first. Microsoft have said they'll be honoring those
interesting. Very interesting.
because obviously they could have just bought that contract out, but they've instead decided to just let those games come out. I mean, they're indie games, but to just let them come out first on PlayStation because that was the original agreement.
Well, if that's the case, then what that implies is those specific games that are part of the contracts, obviously, or like the sequels or further installations from that company, will become timed events. But what I think Xbox will do to obviously counter that, not necessarily counter that, but like in response to that, is make it so that like how obviously PlayStation has PlayStation Plus. What was it? Their one Game Pass or something?
Yeah, so they have Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's like a monthly thing where you get free games. If they do the same thing, it'll probably be a case of like PlayStation gets these as a time exclusive for like I don't know a month, 2 months, 3 months, I don't know, and then following the end of the exclusive, Xbox just gives it for free.
Yeah, I think it's the Deathloop and Ghostwire is a 1 year timed exclusive.
Okay, there you go.
But like I said, it's not really a big deal. They're not, your Fallouts or anything like that.
No, no,
But it's going to be interesting, especially when Bethesda's logo is going to appear. And then you're going to hear the Xbox exclusive.
no. It's got to throw a lot of people off, of course. I think I think they're definitely going to have some kind of implementation in the creative process. They synced 7.5 billion. It's not like they're going to. They just bought themselves an I don't know. They hired a new employee. They've acquired a massive amount of property for a large amount of money. They're not going to just let them do what the fuck they want. No.
No, you're 100% right. And all right, so let me give you a suggestion. If you're Sony, what do you do? Because let's be honest, they can't go out and buy anybody. They don't have the money. They're not going to go out and buy Rockstar. That's not going to happen.
As cool as that
Like,
would be, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that.
they're not going to go out and buy your Ubisofts or your Konamis because they're not for sale. So what the hell do you do now?
Well, I don't think there's much they can do because with the PlayStation 5 reveal, they announced the whole PlayStation Plus collection for next gen, which is awesome, of course. But then now this news came out on top of that. So this is like in a way Xbox's response to that. So
Hmm.
and like you can definitely see that this was a planned event. Contracts like these, 7.5 billion dollars don't just exchange at the drop of a hat. This is very clearly a long process of months of planning. They've definitely been scheming this for a while. So Sony, I'm not sure if they knew of this happening. If they did, then obviously they'll have a counter coming up soon, but it won't be like tomorrow or anything like that. But there's nothing you can really do immediately. They can't just announce, "Oh, but well, guess what? I've also got this on my console." Or we've got that on our console.
Yeah, no, I remember what is it? I saw this little meme which was that originally Microsoft was as a joke was actually trying to get together the money to buy Warner Brothers game studios.
Yeah,
And then Warner Brothers were like, "Yeah, we're not for sale anymore."
yeah.
And then they're like knocking on Bethesda's door, like, "All right, we want the entire company."
It's just great. I mean, there was a amazing meme I saw earlier on about I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something along the lines of PlayStation coming out saying, "Oh, we've got this specific game," and then Xbox's response, "Oh yeah, well I'm going to buy Bethesda." How do you feel about that?
Yeah, but no, I'm really hoping that this does right the ship for Bethesda because obviously they are a studio with good potential,
Hmm.
and we know what they can do. But we'll have to wait and see.
I'm hoping this will incite a friendly bit of competition. It's sort of like how the space race ignited like the progress of science. I'm hoping that this sounds really strange, obviously, that this will encourage these companies, these big corporations, to more competitively like outdo each other, but in a way that enhances our experiences as fans. Like,
Well, yeah, you're 100% right because I've never understood the fanboy mentality in the sense that oh, one product is better than the other. I wish the other product didn't exist because that's stupid.
no,
And I just
this thing with Bethesda should like encourage Sony. Okay, these are the moves that Xbox are making. We need to do something that will obviously bring them to our platform, but what obviously enhancing that. We can't just like attract them with a honey trap. We've got to bring them something that'll make them stay. So we've got to come up with an idea that is user friendly and that is actually good. And hopefully this
no,
will incite like
100%.
backwards and forwards, like a lovely tennis game.
No, I totally agree. I'm 100% agreeing with you. Like I said before, I'm happy that Microsoft has made this move. Like
Mm.
being a PlayStation fan, Sony needed this kick up the ass because they've been very. Let's the best way to put it is Sony have been turning into their PS3 era Sony when they're up on their little pedestal, thinking they're better than everyone. And I think they need to be knocked down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, what do you think they're gonna do?
What Sony? What with the whole Bethesda thing?
No, yeah, I thought like, what do you think Sony are gonna do in response to Bethesda?
I don't know. Maybe not make their game 70 fucking pounds.
we're
We'll
gonna
get to that.
we're gonna get to that.
And the thing is, as well, like the bad thing about all this happening is that it's locking gamers from being able to play third party games because obviously
Yeah.
Bethesda is a third party company or was. If they become
Mm.
exclusive, that locks out them being played on every other console. And I know it's the same with Sony, and I guess that's sort of why people are encouraging Sony to bring their PlayStation games across the PC.
Well, if the reveals that we saw recently go by anything, then I think they're listening to the fans because those PlayStation exclusives, well, they may not exactly be fully exclusive.
Well, that's the thing. I know that they're bringing Horizon Zero Dawn to PC, or that's already happened. So it is slowly happening with a couple games, and I think they're just kind of testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like all the new releases, well, almost most of those new releases that are quote unquote exclusive had the very small text also available on PC, which
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
obviously they're not PlayStation Studios, though.
No, no, it's just it's a bit mental to me. What that implies to me is it's just saying it's just not available on Xbox, which is you know just a tiny bit mad.
Yeah. So let's move on
Cool.
to the PlayStation event, where obviously PlayStation revealed the price of their PS5 and everything like that. But before we get to the price stuff, we'll go through what we saw at the event.
Yeah.
The first thing we saw was Final Fantasy 16, which is an exclusive asterisk also coming to PC. Um, I actually thought this was so insulting when I saw this
Hmm.
because I was like, I get it, it's a timed exclusive. You don't have to call it a PlayStation exclusive because it's not.
Exclusive.
Like, a timed exclusive is not an exclusive. I'm sorry.
But
It doesn't count.
PlayStation says it's a PlayStation exclusive.
Like, I don't get it. I just thought it was so stupid. It was so stupid. But obviously, we've got Final Fantasy 16 coming out. Final Fantasy 15 was a good game, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this one.
Hmm.
You've got Call of Duty Cold War, which I know you really want to talk about.
Oh, I'm
So
so excited for that game.
yeah, take it away.
I mean, we can talk about it in a lot of time slot. I'll just give a very quick rundown. Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War is an exciting game for many reasons. There's a lot of little issues that we've touched upon before privately about like I'm not sure if we've ever covered it on the podcast though. There's a little things obviously that here and there. We'll get into more detail a little bit later, but from the footage that they've given us and like the features that are available in game for the campaign at the very least, the multiplayer will be completely different. Obviously, like you'll have all these features and more, but the campaign alone looks fantastic. It looks incredible, and not to mention, as you meant, actually, I think it's best if you take this part away, Birkin. It's the second appearance of Turkey in a video game, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
I'm,
Yeah, because obviously you had them in, you had the country represented in Revelations with the whole Ottoman Empire and stuff.
mm.
So obviously, when this mission took place in the little trailer, I was like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, so we get to go and visit. Well, for spoilers for anyone who's not seen the announcement or the trailer, the trailer takes place in Turkey, and it's showing a sort of assassination attempt, sort of mission, followed by an escape via a runaway car. It's a very exciting sort of thrill ride, and we're very excited to. We'll talk more about it a little bit more. There's so much to talk about regarding that game, but please carry on.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So with that as well, I mean, there was a couple indie games here and there, and a couple other games that we probably won't remember.
Yeah.
Another big one was that Avalanche Studios are bringing Harry Potter, the RPG. Remember that,
Mm.
called Hogwarts Legacy, to PlayStation, Xbox, etc. And are you excited for the Harry Potter RPG? Because I think this is going to be
I
fantastic.
am tremendously excited for a great many reasons, and the most important reason for me is actually the title. The title itself is it's very intriguing. So obviously it's an RPG, and spoilers again. Like we'll just put like say from this point onwards, we're going to discuss spoilers regarding all of the trailers of these upcoming games, or like before game spoilers. The announcement reveals that this RPG game will take place in the 1800s. Was it Birkin?
Yes, that is right.
Yeah, the 1800s, which takes place 100 years before the events of the Harry Potter story, and I think like 50 years, no, not 50, excuse me, 100 or so, maybe 200 years before Harry Potter, and like 100 or so before the events of Fantastic Beasts, if you consider that canon as well. But Legacy, Hogwarts Legacy, it is an intriguing title because to me, what that says is that this will have in-game lore that obviously ties into the rest of the franchise, and I'm very intrigued to see what they mean by legacy. Of course, does that mean we're going to have glimpses into future events? Does that mean we get to see the setup of many cult classic or aspects of the story that we already know about? It's a very exciting concept.
Do you reckon we'll see Tom Riddle? Is that his name?
Tom Riddle, no, it's way too
Oh, oh, it's because 100 years and whatnot.
yeah, like I might be wrong. I don't know. I can't remember exactly when the dates are. I think Harry Potter it takes place in like 1990s,
Oh, okay.
and like the events of Fantastic Beasts take place in like just before World War II. So Tom Riddle actually comes about. I think it's like 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. So this won't be Tom Riddle. This would be like a different threat, a much older threat, if there is any threat at all. So yeah, very
All
exciting
right,
stuff.
that's cool.
What
Yeah, that. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the whole sorting hat thing.
is that your favorite feature? Would you say, or are there other features?
Oh yeah, because it's going to be cool to see you actually like sorted into a house. I'm really hoping you can play like Quidditch or whatnot.
Do you reckon the process of being sorted into a house is going to be like an in-game feature where you are expected to like fill out questionnaires or maybe quizzes or trials, or is it just going to be a random generated thing?
I reckon it will be. You'll have to ask like a personality test or something,
Hmm.
and then they'll put you in, and then it'll have an option of, do you want to be in this house?
Yeah,
Click to try again, because obviously not everybody wants to be in the house they're actually sorted into when they first do the test.
yeah, yeah.
That's the sort of vibe I reckon it will be. But no, I'm really excited. I really hope that they have the what is it? I think it was in Prisoner of Azkaban, the game where you could go around and look at like the hall, and you had the like hourglasses with the points and stuff.
Oh, right. Okay.
I really hope that's a feature that plays into it. So, like, let's say the game's an RPG, right?
Hmm.
But there's like this weird online system in it where the more people like play as a certain house, the higher your hourglasses are, maybe, or something.
That'd be quite cool.
Or, just as the story goes by, depending on which house you're playing as, if your
I'm
um,
I'm looking
house is
forward,
going higher.
I'm looking forward to a certain feature if they introduce it, and that is it's quite established in the Harry Potter lore that there's going to be different potions, of course, and one of them that's very well established is the Polyjuice potion, which I'm not sure if you remember. It when you take it, it allows the person who drinks the potion to become another person, like imitate them physically speaking, and
Oh, that'd be cool.
it's used quite a lot in the movies and in the books by the main protagonist, the antagonist, to get to different places. And it's actually a way that Harry and like the other protagonists are able to enter different houses and actually explore those. So if there is a way to implement that, that means we'll actually be able to explore more areas of the castle than previously. Because we haven't seen things like the Ravenclaw house or the Hufflepuff house or any of the secret towers that are associated with them. So that kind of feature would really like expand the lore and the landscape even more, make it way more open world.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. I also want to know if what you call it, the if you'll be able to go to like individual classes and stuff.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be quite cool. Like you can actually make your own like seminar sheet. That'd be quite cool. But
it's a school simulator, and it's perfect for those who are obviously missing school during COVID. So it's literally
yeah,
a perfect move from who was it, Avalanche.
yes, it's Avalanche
Yeah.
Studios. I think that's the same studios that make Just Cause.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. Uh, but no, I'm really excited for it, and I think it could be something really fresh and interesting. And we'll see how far it goes. And obviously, hopefully, it is a full game and it's fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they actually explore the lore side. I don't want it to be just a purely open world experience. I mean, they can make it a sandbox open world experience. That would be a very interesting thing too. But I think the appeal of it will be lost very quickly if that was the case.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Right. And moving on from there
Hmm.
is that obviously you have Spider-Man Miles Morales coming out to PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
but that is also coming out to PlayStation 4. How does that make you feel?
Um, I don't know actually how it makes me feel. I can't really put it into words. I'm a bit surprised to be honest because it was revealed in the PS5 reveal cinematic announcement that we saw ages ago, and it was sort of implied that it was going to become an exclusive for the new console. But now I don't know. I mean, when you consider like the prices for the new Sony games being like 70 quid, I mean that's going to be a massive deterrent from a lot of people who want to transfer across. But now that they're saying that Miles Morales, which was a main driving point for PS5, is now PS4, apparently. I mean, I know for a fact that you're definitely going to get it on PS4, not PS5.
Yeah. I mean, because even though the PS5 version of that is 54.99,
Is it?
yeah, because it's not a full game.
Well, that's what we're being told. We still don't know too much about it, unfortunately. We just know that
Like, if you just buy that Miles Morales portion, it's 54.99. But if you buy the Ultimate Edition, which comes with a remastered version of the original Spider-Man game,
Hmm.
the one that Marvel Spider-Man, then it's 70 quid.
Oh, another thing worth mentioning is that in the announcement that we saw of Miles Morales, they explained a couple of things. So that this game takes place apparently a year after the events of the original PS4 Spider-Man, which gives us a massive gap. It shows nothing of Peter Parker's Spider-Man, which is interesting. So we can see like what he's doing. Well, maybe we could speculate what he's doing, and obviously brand new enemies who have what? How can we describe it? Sort of like plasma-based weapons and like movement
I
ability.
think it's they've replaced is it Sable?
Yeah, I think Sable. I might be
They've
wrong.
just replaced Sable with a different company.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah,
But no, it will be interesting to see like which villains appear and stuff like that, and how this will like be the jump to the next actual proper Spider-Man game, which will be Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
yeah. Oh, and the combat in this Miles Morales teaser looks so lovely. It's so crisp and smooth. I'm very looking forward to it. Very much looking.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. It'll be very interesting to see Miles's coming of age story.
What would you say would be the one thing you are cautious about with this game?
What was the Miles Morales game?
Yeah,
The length.
the length.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be.
That's a good point. What would you say would be like an acceptable length for this game?
Probably the length of Lost Legacy,
That's not a bad shout.
the the Uncharted spin-off thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know that wasn't a full price game, and that was still pretty decent. I think that was like 6-7 hours long, something like that.
Hmm.
Maybe it was 10 hours. I'm not 100% sure. It was something around that. But yeah, my hope would be that it's at the very least like a decent amount in length, and there's an actual decent amount of story in it. Because especially if you are trying to charge £54 for the PS5 just for that game is
And
ridiculous.
if it's
So
not like a full game, then it kind of seems absurd, really.
yeah, so my presumption is that if the DLC is as long as Lost Legacy, then for PS4 it'll probably come in at about £30.
Yeah.
That would be my bet, and then it will drop to like 15.99 or something like that. But that being said, speaking of PS4 and PS5 games, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 Forbidden West is coming to the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4. How does that make you feel now?
Um, Well, it's the full sequel, so we're gonna get like a full game from it, and
Yeah.
obviously in turn we'll get like DLC with it if they decide to do that. But I think this is obviously a good move for those who obviously want to stay with the PS4 and are big fans of Horizon. It's obviously a very good game. The trailer for it looks incredible. It looks so good.
The funny thing is, as well, is that we almost was like we were teased that Ghost of Tsushima was the final PlayStation 4 exclusive,
Yeah.
but now it's like actually, even though that is the final PS4 exclusive, it's gonna get remastered to PS5. Let's be
Oh yeah, of
honest.
course.
Um, but it's quite funny because now they're like, oh yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming. Oh yeah, so is Horizon Zero Dawn 2. And you're kind of like, oh, so Zero Dawn 2 is the final exclusive then for the PS4?
It could be. It could very well be the final exclusive. Oh, we don't know exactly because PS5 comes out, and obviously a lot of hype will be for PS5 games, next gen games. But that doesn't mean we're still not going to get stuff for PS4. PS4 doesn't just stop after PS5 gets released. That's what happened with PS3. I mean, what PS2 servers recently just got disconnected, and PS3 I think is still going strong. So,
I meant in more in the sense that the PlayStation Studios.
oh yeah, I mean they could still surprise us with a few more releases. I mean, we still don't know for a fact that all of these games coming to PS5 are still PS5 only. I mean, we still don't know that if Ratchet Clank is going to be just PS5. It could be a PS4 as well.
I think Ratchet and Clank will be the launch title on PS5, and it's just going to be PS5.
It could be.
And I think then after that, it'll be God of War 5 as just PS5, which we're getting to. Um, but yeah, no, at the moment, all I know is that Horizon Dawn 2, Zero Dawn 2, and Spider Man Miles Morales are both PlayStation 4 games, which definitely means you can keep your PlayStation 4 for another year, folks. That's right.
At least, yeah.
Uh, and obviously, you've got a bunch of third party games as always. And moving on to God of War 5 Ragnarok, which has now been confirmed. And let's be honest, we all knew it was coming anyway.
I'm,
But
I'm
yeah,
surprised.
that was the final thing.
I was surprised you were able to predict it. You were saying the entire time that we were watching it, oh, it's God of War, it's God of War, God of War. And then when the symbol appeared, you're like, yes, it's God of War.
I did say, I remember I said before the event started that we'd see God of War 5.
And you predicted the title. Well done for
I
that.
did. Thank you. But yeah, no, we had good reactions to that though, because I remember the first one, well, the fourth one was good fun as well. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what Santa Monica can do for this one.
Mm. And just before the recording, we were actually talking about God of War and the possible future for the story, because God of War 4 or just God of War PS4 was a fantastic game. It's gorgeous. It's seamless between gameplay and cinematics. Story wise, it's excellent. I mean, if you haven't played it, go out and play it. It's worth the price. But from God of War PS4, it was already established that, and spoilers are. I mean, it's been out for what 2-3 years now. I think we can talk without saying spoilers.
Yeah, I think it's been 2-3 years,
Okay,
something like that.
spoiler alert
Yeah,
again. Why not? It's revealed that the son of Kratos, what was his name again? Atreyu.
yeah,
Atreyu.
something like that.
Yeah, Atreyu is actually also known by his mother's side of the family.
Oh wait, no, it wasn't Trait, it was Boy.
No, boy.
Boy.
Well, Atreyu or boy. His other name, according to his mother's side of the family, the family of giants, was it? Or was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was a family of giants.
Um, is Loki. His name is Loki, which it obviously is a reference to the Norse mythology god of trickery. But obviously, it's a reimagining because this is a boy version who wasn't raised in Asgard. So very interesting to what that means. But then this new game is called Ragnarok, and you and I already discussed this before the recording that this implies that this is the last installment to do with Norse mythology if they follow through with the title.
That's very true. It'll be very interesting to see how much of a different spin they give on it. Because remember, I gave you my prediction
Yeah.
that there'd be a third one with Kratos fighting Odin
Hmm.
instead after he fights Thor in this one. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what they do or not.
Well, we already know from a teaser that was released back with PS4, God of War, that there's going to be a fight between Kratos and Thor. He rocks up to the house with the hammer and everything. But
Oh, so
it's a
cool.
very good teaser. But obviously, we're going to see a fight between the two of them. But it may not be the end because obviously, in the original myth, Thorgit fights the World Serpent, who we've already met in the previous game. Um, so the
Yes.
question is, will the God Killer claim another name, and who will it be? I mean, it could be Thor, it could be Odin straight away. We don't know. There are so many options, and question is, do you think this will be the final title in the franchise?
What in general, or do you mean before we move on to to like Egypt or whatnot?
I mean, we were speculating that they could go on to other mythologies. That'd be really cool. But like, what if this next game, Ragnarok, is the end of God of War?
I couldn't see them doing that. I could see them retiring Kratos
Hmm.
and then moving on to Loki becoming the title character. But then it wouldn't. I don't know if you'd call it God of War. Would you not call it God of Mischief?
Well, that's the question, really. It could.
That'd be cool
I
if
mean,
they called it
if
that.
they do that, that is technically the end of the God of War franchise. The story ends with
Yeah,
Kratos.
that'd be cool if they called it God of Mischief. Actually, I'd quite like that.
That would be a really cool twist if they said, "Okay, we're going to make a sequel, and it's called God of Mischief," and then from there on, that would be a really cool way of going about it. But we don't know ultimately.
Because you could do the W logo, but now it's flipped
Yeah.
because it's an. I definitely think they're going to do that now. A little part of me thinks that's what's going to happen.
So if that happens, everyone who's listening to this, then you know we called it here.
That's right. Every one of you, 3, 4 people.
22nd of
You know,
September
I've called it.
2020, we called it here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, then moving on from God of War
Hmm.
to what we can say the price reveal of the console.
Good God.
So, the PlayStation 5 has now officially revealed its price after Xbox decided to reveal theirs first by obviously making the first move.
Hmm.
So, the PlayStation 5, the disc version is £449, while the digital comes in at £359. Now, compared to the Xbox, the Series X, which is the disc version and the more powerful version of the console, comes in at £449, and the smaller version, the S, the digital version, comes in at £249. Now, it's very interesting to see that they haven't actually tried to undercut Microsoft in any way, and they've gone more expensive with the digital, which I believe is due to the fact that the digital version of the PlayStation 5 has the exact same amount of capacity in terms of like SSD
Yeah.
as the disc, while the digital S version of the Xbox it only has 500, while the disc has 1 terabyte.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that. I think they haven't really changed much with regard to the digital, except they did remove the disk drive. So of course it's going to be more expensive. But yeah, you're right. It's a really strange move that Sony has just decided. You know what? We're going to make this way more expensive.
No, I do agree. It's really weird in the sense that like they've gone 100 higher,
Hmm.
and on top of that, it is the fact that obviously it's still the same SSD size, but the X, which is a more powerful console, still has 1 terabyte, while the PlayStation 5 only has 825
That
gigabytes.
makes no sense to me at all. It makes not a single sense in my body.
I don't get it's such a strange number, 825. Why isn't it not just 1 terabyte? Why is it not just,
Mm.
900 or 850?
It's a really strange move considering Sony's point like playbook, play style. If you look at like all of the different marketing that they've done from this past year, ever since they announced PS5 and Xbox, Xbox did their announcement and they showed obviously what the series, what was it, Series X? Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, they did the Series S first, which leaked.
Yeah, and then they obviously did the official one, and then it took several months up until recently when they PlayStation showed obviously their one. So it's quite clear that Sony's very careful and meticulous. We've heard nothing, no leaks at all. We've seen nothing until the final announcement reveal trailer. And so, again, with the pricing, Sony waited deliberately long enough after Xbox to reveal the price. And to me, that's telling me that Sony is very carefully thinking things out. But that obviously confuses us, and like myself especially, in that they're deliberately saying, okay, we're going to release this console here at this time knowing what we know, but it's still going to be more expensive and have less storage capacity. Let's go.
No, exactly. Yeah, you're spot on. It's the thing that they've waited and they had the perfect opportunity to undercut, but because they're selling the consoles at a
Mm.
loss, they've decided not to, which to me completely baffles me, especially considering how much they're trying to charge for video games.
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Like, oh mate, I can't wait.
that.
And yeah, like it's a very strange move, especially like Sony had been very tightly, keeping it shut in regards to backwards compatibility, which we now know is not happening, and it's only going to be happening for the PlayStation 4
I mean, at
games.
the very least, we still get the PS4 games, which is very nice, but
Yeah,
it's a
but
disappointment,
the Xbox will be supporting all the Xbox library.
which is insanely big now.
Yes. And it's also very weird in the sense that like we've had like no clarity on what Sony has been wanting to do. It's been very the marketing hasn't been very clear.
No, it's very enigmatic, and I honestly think, and you can quote me on this, I am certain that Sony has something planned because you have the reveal of the consoles, reveal of the price, and obviously with those we saw all of the different games being previewed. What's coming out on PS5, like God of War, Ratchet and Clank, all of these amazing titles coming soon, even if they're not exclusive, um, and obviously the PS Plus collection, which we'll get to later. But I reckon Sony has one more big reveal, or like at least one more big secret they're hiding behind because they've been too quiet about a lot of details, and they won't just underplay themselves this way or like underperform after so much secrecy. If that does, then Sony will have a lot of problems coming their way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there has to be something that they need to do because,
Some game changer,
like,
yeah.
yeah, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fanboy. I like PlayStation, but I will call out Sony if they've been shit, and I will say they have been shit. And I really am feeling that Microsoft have taken an edge this generation.
Mm,
Like they've been doing things fantastically well, and I've been really impressed. And I welcome the competition, seriously welcome it, and I've got to applaud them for what they've been doing. They've been really consumer friendly. They've been fantastic. While Sony's been very anti-consumer,
yeah,
and that for me is a big problem.
I agree. And we were talking about this before the recording, and we actually should have just recorded the entire thing in
Yeah,
retrospect. But we were both in agreement. I think we're still in agreement at least that Microsoft's moves with acquiring Bethesda is a game changer. Not just for obviously their console, which already was doing better than PlayStation in terms of price and performance, but now in terms of like the standards. So Microsoft has established that not only do they want more players on their console, they want to make it affordable. They want obviously the better standards of their console, but they're willing to go the extra mile and pay 7.5 billion for IPs, even if they're not exclusive. They're making it clear that they want to get these products for their fans. They have one objective, and that is to get people onto their platforms and to stay on their platforms. Unlike PlayStation, who doing something completely different. We have no idea what their strategy is, and that's why I think they're going to be doing something in response. But with this very slow like back and forth between the companies, as we mentioned before the recording, um, I honestly think that this is good for both companies, even like companies that are not involved in this, like third party companies, and even Nintendo to a degree. You could even say this will slowly be the new standard being set. We want consoles companies to be more consumer friendly. We want better performances. We want things that want us to keep us there. And hopefully Sony will take this cue to up their game because if they're not, they're going to be left in the dust by Xbox. And I am shocked that I'm even saying that.
that's the thing is as well. I remember we all believed at first that Sony had the PlayStation 5 wrapped up with their performance with the PlayStation 4 and
Yeah,
everything. And now Microsoft has really been making moves. They've been consumer friendly, like I said. And while Sony hasn't been, and we've been getting, PlayStation 3 era Sony, who, let's be honest, are awful. Um, don't forget, they did try and charge you £500 for a fucking PlayStation
oh
3,
god.
um, which is insane. And no, like I said, we don't want that. What we want is PlayStation 4 Sony. And at the moment, I'm gonna say it, like Xbox is miles ahead
Easy,
at the moment.
easy.
Like they've been offering much better value. Sony haven't offered anything in terms of value. Okay, yes, you've got your PlayStation exclusives and everything, which we all love. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you need more than that. You need to make your console affordable. You need to make your services affordable. You need to make your games affordable. Um, and and that sort of stuff is what's wild about it. Is just like at the moment they're charging ridiculous prices when Xbox is more reasonable. And that being said, let's get on to that. So obviously we know that the PlayStation games and everything like that in the games market, people have been wanting to charge £70 now in upping the value of video games because apparently they're expensive to make, which we all know. But guess what? You've got 2.5 billion people who are gamers now. This ain't a niche thing anymore, Betty.
No.
You don't need to charge £70. Um, if you want to charge 60, I'll be more open to it, but it's still ridiculous. But essentially, PlayStation 5 games, especially PlayStation Studio games, will all be £70 from now on. Now, I personally think this is ridiculous and people need to push back. You don't need to accept this because I believe that if the casual market accepts this, then everybody else will follow.
Mm.
And I believe that is wrong. I think it's extraordinary, and we're almost at £100 for a video game, which to me is insane.
That's about a fourth of a PS. That's just under a fourth of what will be the new digital console, just for reference.
Exactly, it's ridiculous. The thing is, I've always believed that gaming is a hobby and not a luxury.
Mm.
But with this approach, it becomes a luxury, and I find that very insulting to your consumer base because without your consumers, who remember are the working class, are the people who are going out, have 5 to 9 jobs, etc. 5 to 9, 9 to 5 jobs, etc. And all that, who are having to pay their mortgages, who aren't, who might not be super rich.
Mm.
You're insulting to them because without that base, you wouldn't exist or be where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, here's a good little reference for like how expensive things can be in terms of games and like how you can make your money's worth. Because with PlayStation 4 games upon release, they're around what 40, 50 quid, sometimes even 60, depending on like the editions. You get the gold editions, the ultimate editions, of course, which have extra features. But like if you go for base games, full price on PlayStation Store or in game, wherever you buy your games from, they're around 40, 50 quid, wouldn't you agree? Or maybe even slightly higher.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Um, let's take, for example, Fallout 76, and there's a reason I'm going to do this. I'm looking right now at an IGN article released. When was this released? December 17th, 17th of December 2018. So this is a couple
Mhm.
of years old. And as of this article being written, it's estimated that there were around 406,795 players at that time playing Fallout 76. And that's
Jesus.
a lot of players playing that game on just PlayStation. And the reason I bring this up was how much was Fallout 76 on release?
I want to say like maybe 45, 50.
Okay, let's go conservatively and say 45, because like it could be higher, it could be lower, whichever. Let's say 45, just for like the sense of posterity. Um, if it was 45, and you take this number, yeah, and you charge the game 45. Sorry, if you charge that game for £45 for that amount of players, yeah, you get a total amount of, I don't even know how to count, 18,305,775
Jeez.
pounds. That's how much you're getting in return for just those players buying the base game.
And that's not even with the inclusion of your server prices, DLC,
Everything
or
like
like,
the in-game shop, which I know they've been like Bethesda's been pushing for people to go. What was it called? The Atom Shop. That's it. Where people are
yeah.
sinking like hundreds of pounds into like customizations and emotes. So it's a lot of money. Like you can easily make your money back. I don't know how expensive games are to make, but I'm fairly certain it doesn't cost millions.
I mean, it's an expensive thing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
There's a lot of money being put into games, especially of AAA quality. But it's more to do with the fact that like your pricing needs to be reasonable. Like, if you were to charge 68, again, I don't like it, but I'd be more okay with it.
yeah.
Like, but 70 is just ridiculous, especially where it's not even a steelbook or anything. It's just a normal base edition of the
Can
game.
you imagine
And on
what
top
it's
of
going to be
that,
like? Oh my god.
though, think of it this way. If you're charging £70 for the base game, right? I want no DLC. Don't want to see any of that. Well, I should tell you what, you can do the DLC, but I want it free.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any microtransactions. Yeah, don't show me your microtransactions. It's a bunch of bullshit. Don't want to see it. Which is fair enough to PlayStation Studio. They tend to not do that. But even with that, and I also want games, if you're charging £70, right, to be the length of Witcher 3. That's what I want. Because let's be honest, as much as I love Sony's games, right, they're single player games. I freaking love them.
Mm,
But they're not games that are that long. Like, obviously, they're like, maybe at max, they'll take you like 2-3 weeks to finish if you're not playing it every day.
yeah,
But if you are playing it every day, you'll probably be done with it in like 4 or 5 days.
yeah.
Like, imagine paying £70 for a game that you're done within 5 days
It's
or in three
it's ridiculous.
weeks. That's a waste of money. It's expensive. Like, as much as I love single player games, I don't. That's not replay value for me. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
which is why I'm saying if you're going to charge that price, they need to be the length of Witcher 3.
and it goes back to what we were saying regarding the differences between Microsoft and Sony in terms of like the company performance. If you're going to go for a pricing of £70 for just the base game, we're expecting quality. Sony. It's not going to be a case of you're going to give us this game and we're going to brush off like a Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 2. No, 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 no. £70 is not a small amount of money. It's nothing to sneeze at. We're expecting quality. We want quality graphics. We want quality sound systems. We want quality gameplay, seamlessness, the whole shebang. It should fully utilize the specs of PlayStation 5. It should make us really be in awe of what this machine can do. And if you give us a game for £70, that is none of that. That like I don't know. What's it? Has like Simpsons Hit and Run PS2 graphics and gameplay. There will be massive consequences, of course.
The thing is, like, I understand PlayStation Studios are very good quality games,
Yeah,
really good quality, and for some of them, maybe £60 is a reasonable price for them.
yeah,
But at the same time, like as of recent now, Destruction All Stars, the game that looks like Rocket League with all the like little bit of a spin on it and stuff.
yeah,
That game right now, which you'd usually expect to be maybe like 30-40 quid or whatnot, is now £70,
yeah,
which is insane. That game, which looks fantastically good fun, really enjoyable, that people would love, is now going to be dead on arrival
yeah, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
that price point is ridiculous.
I've just found some more statistics to like further emphasize the point I was trying to make. So, like I said, for Fallout 76, there was roughly around 406,795 plays, roughly speaking, at the time that this was written. Now, there are some additional ones here which may surprise you, Birkin. And the point is, I'm trying to make, if you consider how many people are playing this game and you're charging that amount, it's gratuitous. You can easily make your profits back. So, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, 51.7 million users. FIFA 18, 32.5 million users. Call of Duty World War II, 24.6 million. Black Ops 4, 9.23 million. Ghost, 12.6 million. Last of Us Remastered, 15.9 million. Red Dead Redemption, 6.1 million. No Man's Sky, 3.95 million. There are so many people playing these games. If you were to charge the games for like £10,
Mhm.
for example, No Man's Sky, if they sold that for a tenner, they would have got 39 million or 39.5 million return
Jeez,
pounds.
it's insane.
But I don't know exactly like the intricacies of like behind the scenes transactions because, for example, Sony is obviously the distributor of these games and like the publisher, you could say, and so they may take a cut from that. But still, 39.5. That's if you just charge it at £10. Like these games are £40 to £60 each. So the number is
Yes,
way higher than that. It's ridiculously larger than that. They're making so much money from this. It doesn't need to be £70. If you're going to charge it 70, there's got to be a good reason for it. And we need to see that in the trailer. We need to see that in the marketing. We need to see that in the reviews. And it must be evident to us when we buy the game. We don't want a No Man's Sky situation where we were promised all these things, and when we got the game, it was completely disappointing. I mean, they've turned it around now. Well done to them, because like most companies don't. But the point is, if you're going to charge £70 as a standard for every single game on PS5 or every single full game without DLC, nothing, it just it's ridiculous.
I totally agree, and I think from what I remember now that the video game industry has more value than the film
I'm
industry,
not surprised, not in the slightest.
and so even with that on top of it, it is absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, I'm rooting for Microsoft, being a PlayStation gamer,
Hmm.
for them to come out with a reasonable prices and everything, so it pushes Sony back down a peg to drop their prices,
Yeah.
because at the moment it's insanely ridiculous. Because like obviously Microsoft's version of this is, I don't know how much they'll be charging for the games. I think again they might be at the £70 mark, but don't quote me on that. I think they might be looking at around 60.
Yeah.
Um, but they've obviously got Game Pass, and currently on Game Pass for the Ultimate Edition, which includes you being able to play games on Xbox plus your PC,
Hmm.
it's £10.99. Now that's per month. Don't get me wrong. So it's like Netflix.
Yeah.
That might go up in price. From what I remember, for next generation, it'll be $34.99. I don't know how much it's going to be in pounds, but that's still a better value than £70 per game,
Yeah. Of course,
considering you're paying $34.99, right?
but not
Or
one
in this
game.
case, not for one game, you're playing for a library of games. And on top of that, any Xbox Studios game will go directly to Game Pass on day one of release.
Yeah.
That, my friend, is a fantastic move. And I'm not a fan of digital gaming, but that is better value for your money.
100%. I forgot to mention one last thing, and then I'll stop bringing up the statistics. Of all those massive numbers I'm referring to, like the millions, the 25, the 5 million people who are playing these games, it specifies in this article that the thing is, these numbers aren't global. Some of these numbers are regional. So that's like
Jeez.
3.95. I don't know if it, because it doesn't specify it specifically, but that could be 3.95 million for one region. That's not globally. That means there are way more people playing these games than what we think. So yeah, it's it. I rest my case. I think.
No, no, 100%. Like, imagine it in this case. People are going to be paying £70 yearly, every year, right?
Hmm.
For a FIFA game, for a sports game. That's insane. That is insane. You should not be letting them get away with this. Push back.
So how many years do you think PS5 is going to be around until the PS6? Do you reckon? Like, because we know they're going to make it.
Well, if they make a PS6, they might go to digital. But I'd say maybe 7 years.
So that's seven installations of FIFA. So that's around 490 quid they're forking out in the total for all those games.
Wait, so if you just buy FIFA for the next 7 years, that's the price of a PS5, basically.
If you're okay, so if you buy just FIFA for the next 7 years and the price of PS5 games is still 70 for those games, you're buying all those seven games for a total of £490.
That's insane. That is crazy. Like, it's stuff like this. Do not let them get away with this. You, as a community, have the right to push back. Say no.
It's still not too
Like,
late
you
to vote
don't
further.
have to accept this. Like, for the sake of everyone, please don't say, I don't care how much it is, I'll pay it anyway. That's the wrong mentality to have. The wrong mentality, the right mentality is, we need to be united. We need to push back as a community and say, no, we are not accepting £70 video games. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But we live in a selfish world, and there are no friends at dusk. Am I right?
Oh, we're gonna talk. We're gonna make a separate episode regarding that movie. I am obsessed with that movie.
But there you are, So yeah, I rest my case. I just think it's ridiculous, and that as a community, if they're going to be charging this, we need to demand more, because what you're currently getting should not be charged at £70. Because remember, what you're currently getting is worth 40, £50.
Yeah,
You should not be getting the same product for 70. That's insulting. Ask for more if they want £70. That's all I'm saying.
goddamn £70.
So please, Sony,
Please,
come down a peg.
pretty please.
We don't want PS3 era Sony. Please be consumer friendly, and please Xbox push them to be friendly.
Mm.
And with that, that about wraps up today, doesn't it?
More or less, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, there's going to be a couple episodes coming out focusing on different topics and everything. We'll be moving forward with all that, and like I said, we've got some stuff behind the scenes that we're working on. Keep that in mind. Otherwise, any final words, Oggy?
Please, Sony,
No?
please, please, just please. That's all I
There you are.
got.
There you are. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.